What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Tuesday night. That is right. It is that time to sit back, to pour yourself a stiff one, and crack yourself a cold one, roll yourself a green one. If that's how it is, sit back, relax, because it's shooting the shit uncensored, baby. And I am the man of the hour, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin. And tonight I am here with a very, very special guest. His name is Donnie Mako, and he is an Australian professional wrestler who is killing it right now, everybody. Absolutely killing it. But guys, I just want to take a quick second and a quick chance to thank one of our platforms that we're streaming on this evening, which is Heel Turn Wrestling. Make sure to go and check out that Facebook page, guys. Hit that like button. They're a great bunch of guys with a great bunch of content that they release themselves. Also, guys, let's thank some sponsors while we're in the thanking mood. First up is A-Rock Designs. Now, A-Rock Designs is that company that you are seeing all over the wrestling Facebook pages, the wrestling groups, the Instagram pages. They make wrestling cups, hoodies, keychains, t-shirts, and tumblers. They made me my custom CM Punk tumbler, which I absolutely love. You can't see it because I've got the image up, but that's it right there. It is absolutely dope. It is huge. Keeps my cold drinks cold and my hot drinks hot. Next up is Signal Studios. Now, guys, if you're an independent professional wrestler and you're watching this show, which I know there are a few that do, one of the things that a professional wrestler needs is some really fucking cool entrance music, yeah? Then if you need some new music, you need to hit up my boy Rafi from Signal Studios. He can mix, master, produce any type of track that you want. And if you want something custom, the guys who recorded my song for my intro for Shooting the Shit Uncensored, they are the Cicadas band who record at Signal Studios, and they will be able to make you an amazing track if you need it. Or if you're a musician, you just need a place to rehearse, a place to jam, a place to get your creative juices flowing. Then there is not a more comfortable rehearsal space than Signal Studios in West Ryde. So make sure you go and check them out, guys. But guys, I can see everyone here in the group in the chat tonight. We've got Kyle Eade. He's sitting here. He's excited to be first. We got Josh Tattersall. Good to see that you're healthy, brother. And my boy Chris from Texas. Michael Wade from the US. Guys, thank you very much. Let's bring him out. Mr. Donnie Mako, how are you this evening, brother?
I'm great, mate. How you going?
Good to man, I'm doing pretty good, bro. I'm just excited to have you on the show, man. I've been a real appreciative of the work that you've been able to put out the last few matches that I've seen of you. Man, after all this COVID shit that 2020 has been a real bitch of a year, yeah? Like you must finally be excited to get back in that ring and start putting on some shows, dude.
It's great to be back, especially during COVID. Like pro wrestling's greatest thing that I do, really. It's so much fun every weekend to get out there, and not even being able to train was like a massive pain in the ass, just sitting at home watching wrestling. It's great to get back into it finally.
Oh, I can imagine, dude. But you mentioned watching wrestling. You've been in the wrestling business for a few years now, and are you still able to watch wrestling as a fan? Can you still enjoy it?
Oh, I definitely can. It just, my focus has shifted quite a lot. So back in the day, I'd be into WWE and stuff like that, watching Raw like religiously every start of the week and stuff like that. But now I don't really do that. Like I'll watch the highlights, see if there's some cool stuff going on. It gets a bit more difficult lately to sit down and watch a full show though. Mainly watching in bits and pieces now.
Do you find like when you just sit down and watch a whole show, you just sort of pick things apart a little bit? Like obviously being a worker yourself, sitting there going, I would have done that differently, or that was a good spot, or that was a bit iffy.
That's a lot of what it is now. I can still take like my brain out, like the worker brain out of it as well, and sit there and enjoy a great match. Especially a lot of the stuff in New Japan, you can just kind of sit there and be like, how do they even do it? I've got no idea how they do it. But and then there's other stuff you can watch and be like, ooh, might steal that on the down low. Just
yeah. But dude, like that's what we were just talking about, before we went live is like, companies that are sort of watching the smaller guys, you know, and sort of taking bits and pieces. Have you ever sort of seen that happen to yourself, where like someone's taken something of yours and implemented it on maybe a little bit of a bigger stage, or even on the same local scene that you're on?
For myself, I haven't quite seen that. I guess I've been pretty lucky with a lot of my stuff. We were saying though, one person I do see, I feel like he's had a rough run of it, was Lucci. I feel like he gets stuff ripped off him all the time. I feel bad for the guy. Yeah.
Well, the Damien Priest thing, bro, like straight up.
It's it's insane.
Oh, 100%. But when did you, obviously, like, were you always a fan of wrestling growing up, or did it really something that came to you later on in life?
So I was a bit weird. I feel like me being a fan kind of like went in and out. So back in primary school, I was the ultimate Jeff Hardy mark. I cut some socks up with some holes in them and stuff like that. I think I went to a muffin day like that one time. Just absolutely loved Jeff Hardy. And then I didn't pick it up again until like year 10 for some reason. I just fell out of it.
You know what? A lot of people say that, like even wrestlers, like they'll say, you know, I was really into it in like primary school or like elementary school from the States, and then high school hit. And I think it's when you start noticing the opposite sex, you know what I mean? Or you start going through that growth, and it's like other things are now your attention, you know what I mean? But I think if you're a really hardcore fan, you get back into it, like a lot of guys do.
So, like I rarely hear of anyone being a fan of pro wrestling in like year 8 and stuff like that, or like year 7. They're always like, oh no, especially with like UFC now, they're always going on about it's not real, like all that stuff.
It's kids though. You know, let them be kids. But
definitely.
Yeah, when did you decide you wanted to pursue wrestling?
It's pretty funny. So it was such a random thing. Because I used to play water polo, which is pretty weird. And I'd been doing that for a long time and just kind of been doing it, but like not really caring about it. Just like, oh, I've got to do a sport, need to stay active. And then I was like, pro wrestling. I started getting back into it and started watching it a little bit more. And there ended up being a school that was like really, really local, like literally 10 minutes away from where I was living. And I'm like, I'll try it, see how it goes. Like, why not? I think at that point I was already mucking around. I was like doing parkour and
oh, really?
Yeah, like there was a few. There's a place called Apes in the city, which is a parkour gym. And I was going there just trying to learn how to do flips and stuff, just because it was fun at the time.
Do you still do parkour now?
No, not really anymore. I'd like to try and incorporate a lot of it into the wrestling, like do a lot of person who kind of got me on that was probably John Morrison. Just seeing all the stuff he does, where he kind of incorporates a lot of that wacky stuff.
Oh, dude, that's when I first heard of parkour. Is like when I saw like I think they released like a special tape on or DVD on him, and he was like holding on to like a pole and just like straight out. I'm just like, that's insane. that is insane core strength.
Yeah, he's a nutcase. It was great seeing him when he came down here.
Who did you start your training with when you got into wrestling?
So I started, it was probably middle of 2016, I would say, or like maybe more towards the first quarter of it. And I started with AWF under TNT.
Yep.
And that was, I think, one of his dream camps is where I started. And that was just pretty much, it's funny. Apparently it's a similar situation at most pro wrestling kind of like training places, because you get a bunch of people come in, various different backgrounds, and there'll always be like 30 people, huge group. And slowly, sometimes not even that slowly, for that dream camp, we went from 30 to like 2.
Really?
Over the week, yeah, because he hammered us going through there.
Was it just like, you know, hammered you guys with cardio before you even started locking up and trying to learn to wrestle?
Yeah, well, actually, there wasn't too much cardio. I think there was a lot of learning how to like take a landing and bump and stuff like that. There was so many levels to it, and there were days where that's all we would do, like the whole day. And it's insane how sore you get after doing that.
I can imagine.
Yeah, like you go home feeling like you can't even like walk. It's just like, this is a lot.
And do you think, like you said, it started off as 30, then dropped down to 2, like after the first day? That's a massive drop. Do you think people weren't expecting or didn't respect the business to think that it was that, they thought it was going to be easier than what they expected, like going in there?
I think so. I think a lot of them liked the idea of it, being a pro wrestler, but the reality is really intense. What's asked of you. And a lot of the time, yeah, it's just really intense stuff that you've got to go through. And I feel like you would probably know if you were into it after you took your first like suplex or something.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the thing with a lot of people is like they take that first bump and it's like, hell yeah, like this is it, this is for me. Like I've been told by one guy, it's like he went down there, and this is back in the probably late 80s, early 90s, and he just got the shit beaten out of him and then didn't come back for a year because he was like, fuck that. Like, you know what I mean? Then he started seeing some of the guys on TV and he's like, holy shit, okay, right, maybe I go back and I try it more. And he said, I just didn't respect the business at that time. He's like, well, and he goes straight out, I didn't respect it. And that's where I think when you get a little bit older and you can mature for it. But like I said, some people are just athletic and can do what it is that you guys do, man. Like, and some people can't.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were able to just jump straight into it, leaps and bounds ahead. But it's usually the people who keep training consistently. They're always there. They usually go the furthest, I've found.
100%. And I think it's like anything. If you put the work in, you'll see the result.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, go.
Oh, I was going to say, funny thing about the last 2 people that were left from that dream camp week. It was me and Jack Payne.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gee, and then after training with starting with AWF, where a lot of guys have started their training under Greg or TNT, I should say, and have gone on to obviously broaden their training and go and start doing some big things, where a lot of guys have had opportunities to go overseas and also wrestle big names within Australia.
Yeah, a bunch of people have gone on a similar path to me. I think even who else has been? Nearly everyone I train with at PWA has probably been there.
Paris. I think Paris was there for a while, and
yeah, I think so.
I think a few of the guys, man. But how did you obviously find once you got through that dream camp? What was your next sort of step or goal?
So at first I was very much treating it like a hobby, just as something to do like on the weekends. I wouldn't put a horrible amount of time into it, especially at AWF. There was a certain point in time when we would do the dream camp and then we would do a heap of training for a show and then nothing for like a month. And you literally forgot how to lock up, and then you come up to the next show and it's like, I need more training, like more consistent training. And that's what I was pretty much looking for at that point. Like, this is pretty cool for a hobby, but I feel like I'm probably going to get hurt if I'm only training once a month, then getting on a show and then just fingers crossed. Wasn't really the right way to be doing things. And a bunch of my mates left at that time. That was Lucci, Jax. A few of them had just left AWF, and I remember hearing them talking about other places to go to, like IWA, PWA, all these other places, and then they're gone. They went, and then I was just at AWF pretty much with me and Jack Payne, and it's like, I don't know. Wonder where they went.
But I think, as you said, like training once a month, then going and doing a show, you're going to put yourself at risk of getting hurt or injuring someone else, and that's the thing. If you can't go in there and do what you can do in a safe way, you know what I mean? It can be catastrophic, the outcome.
100%. And I think the moment I noticed that was it was a big multi-man match at AWF. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I remember having this match. And at the time, if you I feel like if you keep doing a lot of like matches and they're going okay, and you can just keep going, and you've had no injuries, especially, you're like, oh, this is fine. But this multi-man match, it was the shits. It was terrible.
Can you tell us who was in it?
It was I was against VIP. I think it was like, might have been 4 versus 4, I believe. I definitely know VIP was there. So
yeah,
Jackson Jared. Then I was tagging, I think Whiskey 6 Buccaneer was in there, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. I can't remember the other people in it. I tried to purge it from my memory.
That's all right. So what happened in this match?
It's just one of those things where like you come into the match feeling so overly confident, and I hadn't done much training, so I'm just like, I don't know how bad things could go. I'm coming in like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, give him a wrist lock, I'll jump off the top, I'll do like the double stomp. I've seen that on WWE. Let's get in there, let's do it. And then like the match happens and I'm just going blank and just forgetting stuff. I specifically remember someone getting put in a wrist lock and then everyone looking at me, and I'm just like, yeah, what? Oh, and then I like, and then I'm like, oh no, I had to go to the top. So then I got out of the ring, and then I couldn't climb to the top because everyone was on the corner. So I've had to like kind of push past people, and then I get to the top, jump off, do the foot stomp, miss his hand completely. And then I have to kind of just, not fun in front of a lot of people.
At least no one was hurt, bro. Like, you know what I mean? You can sort of understand people being green in the ring and taking something like that as a learning experience, though.
Yeah, definitely. And that's definitely something I learned from, as far as could get injured very easily. And on top of that, a lot of the people that, especially now that I train with, I'm like best friends with.
Yeah.
And you really don't want to, like disappoint anybody. So that's definitely a big thing as well.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, it's like the consistency in training as well. If you go over it and over it and over it and over it amount of times, you'll pick it up eventually, and then you'll improve it eventually as well. It's, because like no one, early, in the business ever turns around and goes, yeah, man, like the first time I took a bump, I was like, yeah, put me at the main event of Mania, daddy, let's do this.
Yeah.
Give me the strap.
Yeah, no, but like I started feeling that way at AWF for some reason. It's really weird because like outside of wrestling, I'm like, anyone from PWA would tell you, I'm probably the quietest person in the room. You probably wouldn't even know I'm in it usually. A lot of the time, I'll just be sitting there quiet.
I heard the opposite. I heard you're the party animal of PWA.
Really?
No, I'm joking. I'm kidding, but I was just trying to I was going to say, yeah, JXT said he had to tap out to partying with you, bro.
Oh, I wish.
No, I mean, well, that's the thing. It's like, with wrestling, a lot of people expect, I think, the characters to transcend into real life. Like, even though like a lot of like fans these days are smarter than, I don't want to say smarter, but more in tune with pro wrestling.
Yeah.
That, obviously with technology and everything and so forth, that they can sometimes still fall into the thing and you think this character is real. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like I've spoken to some wrestling fans who think like the Fiend is legit, this crazy lunatic maniac, and it's like, No, it's character, dude.
Yeah.
Suspend that disbelief, but fuck, stay on reality. But like, have you found, obviously, interacting with fans and things like that fans, I mean, your character seems to be, well, it does, I don't want to say a character, because it seems like Donnie Mako the person and Donnie Mako the wrestler are very similar, but the wrestlers turned all the way up to 1,000.
It is very much like that. Takes a lot out of me before going out of the curtain to be like probably I'd call myself probably introverted, quiet person I am, to like, all right, here we go, let's go. It's time to be Donnie Mako, run out there, get crazy. Yeah, it's definitely a switch I have to flip. So then, like, yeah.
How do you find that before matches though? Like, sitting there, like, do you get those nerves?
100%. I get nerves when we're at training and we're about to do some rolls. Like, it's crazy. You always get them, but someone, I forget who told me, was saying that, like, you probably only have nerves because you care.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, I like to believe, because
100%.
you get nerves for everything, but especially for the big matches right before you go out, especially if it's going to be on OVO, or not on OVO anymore, I guess, but
Fight TV or independent wrestling TV.
Yeah, on Fight TV, anything like that. Yeah, you're just freaking out. But then you get this weird calm as soon as you go outside of the curtains, usually.
Do you find that's like the sort of calm before the storm, like before they're like, do you like, I always wonder what the preparation is before a match for a wrestler, and especially for a big show which is being streamed, or even if it's a show in front of like 50 people or 20 people, it's still getting in there and performing in front of someone. But what's the pre-match ritual for you? Like, do you sit there? Do you have a process before your match or your matches that you do?
Lately my ritual hasn't been great, because I will think about what is going to happen in the match and just sit there and stress a lot of the time. And depending on how soon I'm on, will depend on how bad it is. So, like, back at FWA, being in the main events and just waiting the whole show, it's like, oh, I really want to watch the show. But I'm just sitting here, like, in a corner, like, here we go, for like the entire duration of the show. But yeah, and then you've got to warm up, obviously, get a bit of movement going. It's a crazy thing though, because at PWA they'll get us doing like 300, 400 squats and stuff like that. But if it's before a show, I feel like I can only crank out like 10, and then I'm like, oh, that's enough. All right, we're gonna sit down. Jelly legs.
But I think everyone's different on how they could prepare before they perform, right? Like, everyone's got their own sort of like things that they go through and the steps that they go through to be able to get themselves ready for showtime.
Absolutely. It's even fun seeing that backstage, looking around, seeing what everyone's doing. Usually it's fun to go watch Paris do like 100 burpees and stuff like that. I don't know how he does it.
But recently you just won the FWA Tag Team Championships with Angel.
Yes.
Beating the Velocities, which Kyle has just thrown that question out there, which I was leading into. Winning the Tag Team Championships from such an established team like the Velocities, what was that feeling like for you guys? Like, obviously going into the match, because I believe it was 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, so that was being thrown straight into the fire there, especially with me and Reese, because we're very new, very new as far as tag team wrestling goes, because I have never really been in an established tag team before. I've mainly just done single stuff, and he's the same kind of story. He had the stuff with AJ though, so if anything, he had a little bit more experience than me in it. Yeah, but then going into the match with the Velocities was just such a step up. It's crazy. There's just so much to pretty much remember going into it, and so much to learn coming out of it as well, especially 2 out of 3 falls. There's so many variables that come into it.
And in a tag match as well.
And a tag match, and I think we did lucha tag at FWA, so you could have jumped out of the ring and that would have counted as a tag as well. So many to be careful of. Yeah.
That's crazy. Was that your first time doing a 2 out of 3 falls match?
Yes, that was first 2 out of 3 falls match. I had the tag match with them previously. I think we had 2 tag matches. We won the first one, they won the second, and then that was the rubber. So yeah, it was pretty full on. But
dude, like how much went into planning that match out? You know, did you guys go through a lot of that, you know, beforehand, or did you guys go, let's just call everything out there in the ring?
Some of it was a little bit call out there, but I think the style that we were kind of running was a bit like, this is what we're going to do beforehand.
Sure.
Stuff when like banging Jude's head off the piano. That's like, I'd say, a career highlight for me right now.
That's now a clip, I believe. I saw it. He goes into like Dancing Queen.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Like it was just exactly like as soon as I saw it, I popped for it. I was like, that is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I don't know who did that edit, but it was incredible. It might have been Jude, actually, because it sounded like exactly like the song.
It did, like how it went. Like I was like, damn, you two are like talented motherfuckers, bro. Yeah. Wrestling a match and playing piano with 2 people at the same time. But
yeah,
you know, I'm really disappointed that I missed that match, because like from everyone that I've heard that was in attendance and seen that match has said that it was absolutely a phenomenal match. And I think, you know, for you guys having the tag straps on there now, I'm interested to see what you guys do as a tag team. Do you think you would take the tag team into other promotions as well?
Oh, I'd love to. That'd be cool. I actually don't know all the logistics behind how that would work, but it's been done before by FWA. I think they had the women's title down in Melbourne at Wrestle Rock, and they did events down there. So, I mean, if we can get stuff like that going, I'd be all for it. As long as all the COVID shit stays contained. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And I think it'd be a really good thing to see, you know, you guys take the tag team itself, like whether it's not just the championships, but as a tag team, seeing what you guys can do in some of the other promotions in Australia, which I think would be pretty cool.
That would be great. We're actually working on a bit of that stuff now, trying to think of a cool name for us to go together with and get some matching gear, set it up, make it look all good. So there
you go, guys. Anyone in the comments got some potential tag team names for Angel and Mako? Throw them out there.
I love to see some. I've seen some funny ones.
Mako's Angels? I don't know.
There's been
pretty cheesy, I know.
Someone was saying flying fish, and I was kind of like, oh yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Flying fish?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Is a shark a fish?
Angel shark?
Angel shark? Yeah, it could work.
Shark Angels?
Shark Angels.
There you go. 5-star Flash, the promoter. He's throwing out the name. He's going to book it. But, you know, like, you know, now that you have sort of gained a little bit of success with the tag team, you know, with Angel, is singles competition still a goal for you? Is that still something that you're wanting to pursue and go after championships and go after like a main singles push somewhere?
I have been I just try and take any opportunity I'm given right now. So at FWA, for example, I'm really thankful of all the opportunities we've been given there. So at a place like that, I would like to kind of focus and like, especially on the tag team stuff, because I know it's something that I like. you can always improve, and that's something I definitely want to work on a lot there. But at places like PWA, even at IWA, those places, I'd love to do some more single stuff, go for some titles if possible. But I've got a long way to climb still if I'm going for like any of the titles at PWA, especially.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, I think the roster there is very stacked. I think Australian wrestling right now is very stacked. Like
Yeah.
I think it would be hard for a lot of, new. I don't know. Like, tell me, like guys that are new coming up in the last. Obviously, COVID didn't help, but the last 12 months to 2 years. Do you find there's more guys coming through that are talented, or do you think this is going to be the crop of talent we're going to see for the next 5-10 years?
It's hard to say. A lot, especially with the newer guys. I've seen a lot of them breaking out in Newcastle, and I haven't actually been able to like watch a lot of the like. I've seen a few of the matches they've been doing, and they look great as well. So I'm excited to see people like Scott Green, see what they kind of bring to the table. I like his vibe too. But yeah, it's really hard to say. The competition is intense right now. Everything is so stacked. Every company you look at, the cards they're putting on are just bangers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
that's the thing. Australian wrestling, and I say this all the time, Australian wrestling is being noticed more internationally than ever before.
It's very exciting. I love to see it, especially like this fight TV stuff. Just so many new eyes on us. It's crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And even independent wrestling TV. I know that they had the Premiership. It's just gone up there. That's another huge accomplishment for an Australian wrestling company to get that. Is just like it's another level, which is going to bring more eyes on the product, but also more eyes on Australian wrestling.
Yeah, I love that. Just all over Australia generally, because there's so many people here that have been working so hard for so long, and it's just great to see the attention coming our way.
100%. What goals do you really have for yourself now moving forward? Like, what would you like to see happen in the next, say, 3 to 5 years? Have you got any goals set out like that?
My goals so far are very general. One of the things that I did want to do but right now I don't really want to, is travel to America and wrestle around there. But who knows, like in the future, so many things could change, because that was definitely a big goal. Like back before COVID hit, everyone was going all over the place. I think even one of the prefects was down in Perth, I think, at EPW, and it's like crazy. Everyone was going all over the place, and I think I was getting close to getting to that point of traveling around Australia, which already would be sweet to just travel and be a pro wrestler. That's insane.
I think that's the thing, to be flown in somewhere to perform would be like, you know what I mean? Like that's a company investing in you.
Yeah.
Saying, we believe you're going to bring some money to our company, like by bringing, you know what I mean? Like that's a pretty big accomplishment, which I think that, is something that is definitely going to happen for you, dude. Like,
thank you.
Your style in the ring is, like I said, I'm a fan. Like I can sit there and appreciate what you do, and your moveset and the character itself. And as I said before, I definitely noticed that the character, I get the feeling with the character that it's really you turned up all the way to 1,000. When you started the character, did you go through like an idea or thought pattern, like of what sort of gimmick that you wanted, what sort of character you wanted to portray?
So when I was first looking for gimmicks, the first one I came up with was JJ Wick, who wore a leather jacket. I had long, wet Triple H hair. And I was kind of like some kind of hitman dude. That was back in AWF.
Was it over?
Definitely not. Definitely not. But I thought it was just me trying to play what I thought looked cool. I think I even did like, I don't know, the AJ Styles kind of like hand thing, but I do like that, like a W. And it's just like, oh, this is cringe. Oh, but you got to try stuff, I guess. That's the only way you're going to find something. And I think with Donnie Mako, I kind of just fell into, like you said, it's like myself, but I'm just being a lot louder than I usually am and a lot more animated.
But I think that those are the characters that really resonate with the audience and wrestling fans. You know, it's, you know, a wrestler that can do some spectacular stuff in the ring that you can do, but also having a personality and a character which isn't as flamboyantly outlandish, but is more of a, like, I want to say as a wrestling fan, like as someone who's just enjoying that moment of being there as much as being a star, but also someone who's like a real person, so to speak. Does that make sense?
It does. It's kind of looking, it's more like what you see a lot in the UK, where it's just a lot of them they're like a pro wrestler. Yeah. Even like
kind of like Jay White. Yeah, Robbie Eagles, Jay White, Tama Tonga, you know what I mean? Like most of those guys there, it's like that's, I think the more, like, I think the cartoonish characters have sort of drowned out of pro wrestling. Like it's a much more sophisticated time with fans, I think. And that's whereas like people want to be able to resonate with it a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Although I do miss all the cartoony characters as well. I did like seeing them. I'm always crying laughing anytime I see Fudge do anything.
Fudge is on another level, bro. Like he's crazy. Yeah. Like he's one of the funniest motherfuckers I've seen in wrestling.
Yeah, I love Fudge. He's great. Like it's almost, he never gets old as well. Even at the last show, at the one at the Factory Theatre, when he came out, and it's so hilarious seeing someone who looks like him swearing his head off.
It did. I actually bought a friend of mine to that show who isn't a wrestling fan. Like he doesn't watch wrestling, and he sat there, he watched that show, and like he lost his shit at like he just thought Big Fudge was the most hilarious thing. But for someone who isn't a wrestling fan, who was on his seat the whole time, and he was like he's sitting there grabbing me going, bro, like he was completely marking out, and I'm like going, motherfucker, like you want to relax, bro? yeah. But like, and you know what I mean? And that's a 38-year-old dude, bro. Like for him to be able to, who doesn't watch wrestling, to then invest into it like that and enjoy some of the characters that he saw. Like he left, he was like, dude, I got to go to the next, like, when do they get release tickets? Like, let's go. Like he was ready to book for the rest of the year, man. So, and I think that's what, you know, you guys are doing, you know, within Australian wrestling, is that real, you know, connection to the crowd and putting on good matches, but also, you know, putting out, you know, believable characters as well.
Yeah, it's always great to see, especially like with new people coming in. I convince a lot of my like friends and family. It's like, no, it's not like old WWE Stone Cold. Come check it out. It's like, it's a different vibe here in Australia. It doesn't have to be a PWA, but even like IWA and FWA, it's like, it's not like what you see on TV. When you're in the building, it's so much more engaging and fun to be a part of.
Yeah. And I think as well, it's like the fact that, you know, like the Australian wrestling fans are like so passionate about the product. And get so invested into it, where it's like, dude, like, you know, I was surprised at some of the shows I went to, and some of the fans were like, you know, even before they'll come up talking to me about, oh man, you got to check out this guy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck, like this person's like talking to me like it's like going to be like a heavyweight title fight for the UFC. And I'm like, fuck, like they're really bought in. And to me, that is like, you know, when you can get your audience to buy in like that, that's when you know that you've ticked that goal.
Yeah, 100%. It just makes it more fun for everyone.
Oh, exactly, man. You know, and you know, you mentioned about you wanting to travel and go, you know, interstate. You know, where would you like to, you know, if you could go anywhere in Australia to wrestle tomorrow, and wrestle anyone in the country, where would it be? Who would it be against?
Wherever he is, I'd really like to wrestle Royce Chambers.
That would be a fucking great match. That would be a fucking great match. Yeah, I'll actually I'm gonna timestamp that, and I'm gonna put that on a clip and put that out there on social media after the interview. There you go, Royce Chambers, Donnie Mako's coming for you, brother. But man, I think that'd be a great match, and I think you guys, stylistically would match up really, really well.
Yeah, I love seeing all the shit he's doing. It's excellent to watch. Yeah, and I just love to go at it against him as well. Just put something ridiculous together.
Dude, you got my money for the show, bro. Just tell me where it's at. I'm there. Yeah. I think that you guys would definitely put on a burner of a match. But, looking internationally now, if you could have your pick of, if I could say, all right, here's a magic plane ticket to anywhere in the world, and you're booked to wrestle anywhere in the world against anyone you pick, who would it be? Where would it be?
Tricky. I would say lately, I'd love to wrestle someone like Tyler Bate. Weird. I've been a big fan of him for a while, and I've kind of tried to have a similar style to him, where it's like someone who's a bit of a like larger person, but they'll do the power moves, and then they'll bust out like a spiral tap off the top. It's so exciting to watch, or they'll just do a shooter onto the person as well. And it's like, I love watching those guys work, because it's just like, oh my God, like crazy athlete can do everything. So
that British style dude is as well, man. That is like fucking intense, dude. Like Tyler Bate is no joke, bro. Like they haven't really been doing much with him, I think, with the NXT UK stuff. But dude, such a waste to be sitting on the sidelines. Like he'd be a great guy. I'd love to see come down to Australia and tear it up with some talent down here. I think that'd be some amazing matches there.
Yeah, it'd be great. He's like the one person I'll see on NXT or in WWE in general. If he's had a match on, I've got to like search it out. I've got to figure out what it is. Even if he's had just some random match, anytime he's in a match, it's like just great to watch and learn from.
Oh, dude, his matches with Pete Dunne, both of them, like the ones for the UK title. Oh, you know what I mean? Like that was like, again, next level shit of pro wrestling, I think, and it's something that the WWE fan base probably hadn't seen ever before as well. I think that would have been a massive like, what the fuck to them.
Yeah, it was great just watching those matches. It's such a different style to what everyone else was doing, and it just made wild.
Oh, absolutely. And, I can sort of see that style being used in Australia by not a lot of guys, but by a few guys that really sort of wrestle in that same sort of smash mouth. I don't want to say stiff, because I don't know how stiff you guys are going in there, but, there's been some matches that looks very, very stiff. Snug, but stiff. How do you adapt in that situation, when you are wrestling someone, and let's just say someone who's probably not as experienced as what you are, and they are starting to get a little bit stiff in the ring? How do you control that if you're the veteran in that situation?
It feels weird being the veteran, but I can't say I've had too many situations where someone's like done that, just like clobbered me. I definitely wouldn't be the person to like smash them back, because then like, you're just in a downward spiral at that point. Who knows where you're going to end up after that?
It's going to end up in a shoot.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going to be a mess. So I don't know. It'd have to be some other kind of way to get around it. One thing actually I've been doing very like recently, so I'm still shit at it, is BJJ. Just taking that up. But like already some of the stuff I've learned there, maybe I could do that. Kind of someone down and be like, listen, what the fuck are you doing?
But I think as well with like stuff like that, you really have like that opportunity to work a BJJ style into submissions and stuff, because pro wrestling, there's always submissions, there's always, and I think BJJ submissions as well, because there's so much that hasn't been used in pro wrestling that can very easily be transitioned into pro wrestling.
Yeah, and like I've found it interesting, the change as well, where back when like people would be in an armbar for like 2 minutes and they're just like doing I'm gonna tap like no, I got put into one probably 2 weeks ago, and that person did it quite quickly, and it kind of hyperextended my elbow a little bit on my left arm. And shit. It still hurts. Yeah, it's like it's just
dude.
Simple.
I got a background in MMA, and I was rolling jiu-jitsu with a purple belt once, and they got my right arm in an arm bar, and it was completely locked in, but I was trying to do a running man around it to try and just pop out of it to go into side control, and I wasn't getting anywhere, so I tapped, and this guy, just as soon as I've tapped out, like he's just popped his hips. What? And I've just heard, yeah, dude, like, and I've just heard, and like literally I could not, like my arm was like that, and I like to straighten it was like the most like shooting down pain, and it was like that for like 2-3 months, and I got it x-rayed, everything, and they just said, nope, it's just bruising, and I'm like the arm was just, the whole thing was just this purple fucking mess. Like,
it's crazy how nasty some of the stuff they do is. It's ridiculous.
Well, dude, the guy who did it, like I was saying to him, I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Like I tapped, and he's just like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm like, dude, like, fucking, you're a blue belt, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of should know when someone taps the fucking, you're not going to win a medal for this shit, bro. Like, 100%. It was crazy, man. Like I said, it's even now in the winter, it gets a little bit stiff, this arm. So, but those are the things, bro. You live with it, man. But I think moving back into your career and moving forward for 2021, in New South Wales, let's say, what do you want to accomplish this year?
If there is another premiership, I definitely want to be on that. That was definitely something that I really wanted to be involved in, but since we're so stacked at PWA and just generally, like we were saying before with the Aussie wrestlers, it's hard. Even like 16 spots, you'd think, but it's hard to get spots on. It's hard to get spots on cards even. So definitely, like with the last show almost being like a big reset for everybody, at least this year, I would like to just get a consistent spot on PWA shows, which is very hard.
How do you think you get that?
It's tricky. It's tricky. That's something I'm still trying to figure out. That's the game we're all playing pretty much. So probably more promos, I reckon.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's one thing I definitely need to do. Put some more videos out. I don't know. I'm just a very quiet person on social media as well. I plug the shows, but usually I don't say too much. So definitely this year, that's what I'm looking to change a little bit. If I talk a little bit more, let a few more people know me.
Yeah. Could we see a possible heel turn for Donnie Mako?
Or I don't know. I'm really bad at being a bad guy.
That's the thing, bro. I think some people are just natural baby faces, and some people can be natural heels. Like you can have that look. Yeah, like Rey Mysterio. I think he's probably been a heel once in WCW for like 6 months. Sorry.
Just to give it a shot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like, but dude, like he's a fucking baby face through and through. Like there's guys there that crowds will just not believe is an asshole, or vice versa. Like that's just sort of shit that happens, man. But You know, do you think like you could transition your character into a heel if needed to be?
I could definitely try. I just know one thing I'd have to do is keep my mouth shut, because I've done a bit of like playing a bit of heel, and I've got no trash talk game. So I'll start saying stuff, and like we'll practice at training and stuff like that, and I'll start saying stuff as a heel, and everyone's just looking like, no. Just
keep baby face, brother. Keep baby face.
Yeah.
Carl's even saying he goes that you make a better good guy.
Oh, you know me, Carl.
That's it. Okay, so now it's time for the game. It's time for that moment. It's time for 60 seconds with Piers. Are you ready for this, Donnie? Giving you some prior warning of this. You ready to get this going?
Absolutely.
All right, guys. So I'm going to fire off some random questions at Mr. Donnie Mako. He's got 60 seconds to answer them. Donnie, when you're ready, give me the go-ahead and I'll start the clock.
You're good to go.
What sport did you play as a kid?
Swimming.
Which Chris is hotter, Hemsworth, Evans, or Pratt?
Hemsworth.
Favorite song to sing in the car?
I like smashing out some stupid hoe, Nicki Minaj.
All right. Snapchat or TikTok?
TikTok.
What was the last gift you gave someone?
Now I'm not made of money, but it was an Oculus Quest 2.
Favorite holiday destination?
Bali.
Roses or tulips?
Roses.
NRL or Aussie rules?
Aussie rules.
Pool or snooker?
Cool.
Plain fairy bread or bread with Nutella?
Bread with Nutella.
What would your autobiography be called?
Cooked.
Time. Cooked. How would it be cooked? I have to ask.
Well, I don't know. Just I don't know. I'm a pretty out there kind of person. I don't know.
No, fair enough, man.
It's just the first thing that popped in my head.
Donnie, thank you so much for being a guest on the show, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on this evening. Where can everyone find you, and where can people support you and buy some of your merch?
It's great being on here. Thanks for that. So if you want to follow me, I've got Instagram and Facebook. I think they're both under Shark Bro Mako. I think that's the handle for both of them. And if you would like any merch, it would be at Wrestler Merch under Donnie Mako as well. I've only got one shirt up there right now. I've got like a light blue shirt. Like I've got a bag full of them over there that I can I end up bringing to shows, and I've got another shirt on the way.
Oh, perfect. Well, there you go, guys. Keep an eye out for Donnie's merch. Go over to his Facebook and his Instagram, hit follow, and support him. Go check out some of his matches as well. There's a couple of matches up on YouTube, and you will see some amazing wrestling. Guys, until next time, thank you for tuning in. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you soon. Peace.